Hello, Chargers fans, and welcome to another episode of ChargersCast. I'm your host, Kirk Brewer. ChargersCast is a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers, by fans, for fans. So I really appreciate you hanging out with us. We have a lot to cover this episode. We are going to cover the Week 7 loss at home to the Indianapolis, try and say that 10 times fast, Indianapolis Colts. And then we will give a preview of the upcoming Thursday night football primetime home game at SoFi against the Minnesota Vikings. As you can see, got my buddy and regular to the pod, Brendan Isham from Chargers District with me. Brendan, it's great to see you, buddy. Missed you last week, man.
Yeah, good to be back.
It's all your fault. If you had been here, we would have pulled that game out. But because you weren't, look what happened.
Bad juju.
No, I think we were destined to get our asses kicked, period. Man, there's a lot to unpack in this game, but I'm afraid I'm starting to sound like a broken record. And it's not my fault. It's the Chargers' fault. It's basically from the Broncos game. There have been certain themes, and those themes continue. They've continued even though we pulled out a couple wins with the Broncos and we pulled out the win with the Dolphins. We could have easily lost those games, and we could be sitting here at 2 and whatever the hell, 5. Because there are some weak spots that continue to show up. And so we'll go back over those again. It's not going to be anything new. There really wasn't anything new in this game. But boy, Shane Steichen did a heck of a job at really picking us apart where we had weaknesses. And so hats off to Shane. I'm a fan of Shane's, by the way. He did a miraculous job when he was with us. Made quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator, so it's good to see him having success. I just don't want him to have it against us, you know? So let's go ahead and dive into this thing. It was a painful loss, 38-24, and dude, it wasn't even that close. It really wasn't even that close. Man, on offense, we started slow again. We did pick it up and started moving the ball, and our offense is coming around despite this duct tape, baling wire, put together offensive line with guys signed off the street and crap. Bless Justin's heart. I don't know when the day's coming, but it's going to come here soon. If he keeps getting clobbered like he keeps getting clobbered, but he's fighting the good fight, and he fought a hell of a battle in this game, but it just wasn't enough. It was a little too late. We were playing from behind basically the whole game because our offense got started slow. We couldn't get a running game going to save our lives in this game. A lot of that had to do with getting behind. We got behind really quick. They scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 possessions, and they were pretty easy, to be honest with you, which wasn't good. But, defense is, where did our defense go? I looked at the interview with Mentor. He really didn't have any concrete, this needs to be fixed. It's like more of a whole team type of thing. We just need to play together more, stuff like that. But yeah, I'd love to get it was painful. I mean, we needed this win for 2 big reasons. Number one, it would have put us number 1 in the AFC, but number 2, it was going to keep us atop of the AFC West, regardless of the outcome of the other teams. And, KC beat the snot out of the Raiders, which is always a beautiful thing. Anytime the Raiders get the snot beat out of them, even though in this game I probably would have preferred the Raiders beat the Chiefs. But that was a thing of beauty. And then the Donkeys pulled out 33 points out of their ass in the fourth quarter literally they put up 3 goose eggs and pulled 33 points out of their ass in the fourth quarter. I believe That was the biggest fourth quarter comeback in NFL history, if I'm not mistaken, to beat the Giants. And so now the Donkeys sit atop, out of this miraculous comeback, sit atop the AFC West. So it was just kind of painful all around. But I'd love to hear your just kind of your general thoughts. You know, I know as Chargers fans, we're all sharing in the misery.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough game to watch. I feel like it was just a classic Charger game, though, where it was like heartache. And then we started coming back. It was looking pretty good, to be honest, because we were getting the momentum, and Justin was clicking. I believe that was the first game that Ladd, Keenan, and QJ all scored in one game together. So that was pretty cool to see.
And OG.
That is awesome to see. It's good to see them clicking, especially with the O-line and everything. But yeah, that defense decided to start being bad at the worst possible time. I feel like it's been the last couple of games. If you talk last year, we were praising them about the points allowed every single season. And the last 3 games, I'm pretty sure we've almost given up like 90 points.
Well, it's getting worse, it seems. Each week, they're getting worse.
Yeah, so it was 38, and then it was 28, and then it was like 20-something. I don't care if your offense is clicking and their offense is clicking, you're not going to win every game, especially against those hard teams. Like with that comeback, yeah, that was definitely possible. But every time we scored, they scored faster. So it's just kind of hard to see there. We'll dissect it more, but I think this game is going to be pretty good for us, knock on wood, but they're dealing with an injured second-string quarterback, so there's a good chance that their third string might have to go in certain parts of the game. Gives our defense a little more morale if we win this game, too. Like a super quick turnaround for us, but it's a quick turnaround for them. It's a home game, so hopefully we can get a good win at home and boost up our spirits a little more, because I feel like you said it either in the beginning or before when we were talking, but everybody just Herbert looks defeated and everybody looks defeated. I was watching interviews with Derwin James, Khalil Mack, and Herbert, and they just all look like they look done already. They look like they're over the season. So hopefully we can get that morale back, because I don't care if you're elite. If you guys feel like the season's already over, you're not going to win games. You're going to have these teams that are like 1-7 that are hungrier than you, and they're going to beat you. So.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Brennan. We're almost halfway through the season, right?
Yeah.
We're almost at the halfway mark. There really is no halfway mark anymore because of, the 17-game season. I guess technically it'd be in the middle of the 8th game, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, morale is obviously down. And let's be realistic, okay? The Colts were 5-1 for a reason. I believe they were the top scoring team in the NFL going into that game, and we didn't give them any reason to not continue that. I mean, it was almost like our defense wasn't there. And we can get into, some continued themes like, and I believe Jesse Minter touched on this in his interview, but man, going all the way back to the Denver game, they haven't been setting an edge. I don't know who's missing it. I think, I hate to point fingers, but I think it's a combination between Derwin and Dayon. I think when Dayon got not injured, ill, and he lost all that weight, I don't know how that affected him, but he doesn't seem on his game. He seems like he's a step late. And then Derwin's having to cover because Derwin can't be as free as Derwin's used to being. But somewhere these running backs are gashing us on the edge, and it's not even close. Whether it's going into the end zone, it's 5 yards to go, goal to go, and they just walk in around the edge. Or we're sitting at the 50 and, they rip off a 50-yard run around the edge for a touchdown. Like A-Chain did when we had that fumble not this week, but last week. And literally on the first play after the fumble from OG, he rips off a 49-yard touchdown run around the edge. It's like there's nobody even there. So we're giving up big chunk plays, and it's not characteristic of what we're used to. We're used to sitting here blaming the offensive line for the offensive woes. Well, the offensive line is as bad as it's ever been. We've got these two tackles that, like I said last podcast, it's like, that was not on my bingo card. Okay, I did not have Deculus and Bobby Hart as our starting tackles in the 2025 season. It was nowhere in the cards. It's like, you couldn't, if you had told me that, I would have said, quit smoking crack, right? No, it's going to be Slater and Alt. But we got this Deculus guy, which, by the way, bless his heart, he got all banged up and he still fought and came back in. These guys are fighting their asses off, and Herbert was able to put up, 4 touchdown passes and over 400 yards despite this makeshift offensive line. And it was our defense that couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag. And then, as we were talking about just prior to the podcast, just as we were starting to claw our way back into this game, and I know we're kind of all over the place right now, but dude, we're just starting to claw back, and then we have a run back on special teams on the next kickoff after we score, and they run it back for a touchdown, and we're right back in the hole again. It's like,
yeah, you brought up a good point, because
it's crazy.
I was actually going to mention it. Matt Money Smith actually.
Money did an awesome post-game analysis. He was spot on. He did a great job. I don't know how he remembers all this stuff while he's doing the play-by-play to then just... He doesn't have notes, man. It's off the top of his head. He's got to be younger than me. I don't have that good of a memory anymore.
Yeah, and his two main points were... Dayon has not really made an impact really since that flu game they're calling it, which I'm assuming was the Broncos game. And then he actually mentioned this is kind of a unique thing, but like I was watching back and I can agree with him after watching back. Derwin James looks really sluggish. I don't know if he has an injury that he's not talking about. People are saying maybe he's battling something, but like he got that pick, which was cool against the Dolphins. But with that, he's not playing like an all-pro self like he usually does. So coverage might be good at times with him because a lot of people like kind of assume good defensive plays, making those big, huge plays. But being a lockdown guy is also as good. However, he's just looking sluggish. Maybe it's catching up to him. But Matt Money Smith said something about that, and that was interesting to hear because I kind of agree at that point. So
yeah, and I think that was in the context again of just we are not setting an edge.
Yeah.
It's literally it's Dayon and it's Derwin. Derwin's missing tackles left and right. I almost, and this is a layperson speaking, of course, but it almost looks like Derwin under the Staley defense. Staley, he had Derwin doing way too much. And so Derwin was thinking way more than reacting back in the Staley era. And so, you were seeing Derwin just always out of position, missing tackles. And then when he did get a tackle, he would blow the guy up and get a personal foul. And he was not effective at all. And I'm looking at these last few games and I'm like, what's off? Something's off. And it's like, well, I'm kind of seeing that Derwin again. And why? Because I think Mentor knows better, but maybe because they're compensating in some other spaces, Derwin feels like he's got to, maybe try and compensate and do a little more than he should be doing. I don't know. And then, of course, Dayon, like we said, I don't know if he's ever been the same since getting sick and losing that weight. I'm optimistic. There's still a lot of season left, and I believe our coaches haven't forgotten how to coach football. So I'm going to remain optimistic that these guys can pull it out. It's not the end of the world. Now instead of being first in the AFC West, now we're tied for second by one game in the AFC West with the Chiefs. Okay, but we've got the tiebreaker on all these guys, at least right now. So we've got an opportunity to get right this week, short week, which I think is great for the team with everybody being down. It's like, look, we don't have time to dwell on that Colts game. They were a good team. We knew they were a good team, and they showed us. They showed us they were a good team. And so the only thing I can be hoping as a fan, and I sure as hell hope our players are hoping as players, is we get to see those guys again. Right? That's if you're really a competitor, and Harbaugh's competitors welcome, is we get a chance to see those guys again. And the only way we'll get to see them this season would be in the playoffs. And so, it was tough, man. A couple bright spots. While this line is literally a patchwork, you can't fault their effort. You can't fault their effort. Herbert put over 400 yards up, 4 touchdowns. OG had a breakout game again. I guess it's even more of a breakout. He broke out even further than he's already broken out. He had 7 receptions for $164 and a TD. The kid's the real deal. Talk about Ortiz getting steals, man. Couple INTs. There's a couple reasons we lost this game. Okay, we lost the turnover battle. Our defense couldn't stop these guys. Couldn't even slow these guys down for at least the middle of the second quarter was the first time they forced them to punt. We lost the time of possession battle, which it's never a good thing when we're on the wrong side of time of possession. The way this team wants to operate, they had 35 minutes to our 25 minutes. But what was really weird, Brennan, is we ran more plays than they did. We ran more plays than they did. We had more yards than they did, but they had 10 minutes more time of possession. And it was because they methodically marched the ball down the field. Taylor was running the ball, which takes up a lot of clock. And they just boom, we had to score quick because they got us down, right? So we almost abandoned the running game. We had Khalil back. We had Perryman back. It almost seemed like it didn't make a difference. Maybe they were rusty coming back, even though Khalil got the 1 sack. Yeah, man. I love the fact this is a short week, and we can look at it, take note of it. There wasn't anything in this game that was new as far as why we lost it. So pack it up, move on.
Yeah. A couple things I want to say is the Texans game and a couple others. Most of the time, those were Herbert's fault. But that defensive tackle who got that ball, that was probably the worst play by Herbert I've ever seen. It's it's one play, you can't put it on him, but at least go down and try to throw the ball away. He was in a packed little corner, but he waited 10 seconds and then kind of went off his back foot and just threw it. He's known to get a lot of batted balls down. I think he's the most statistically when he comes in the league. So, and then that pick in the end zone, I just feel like you could have went a couple different options. But
that one was definitely on Herbert.
Yeah. So I just. It's all good. You can't have perfect games, but that was his bright side of it. He's never thrown more passing yards in his. That was his record. He's thrown. That was his game where he's thrown the most passing yards. So that's cool, especially with the O line. And then one thing I wanted to say, I don't want to bash people, but I want to know what Greg Roman was thinking when we were down 2 touchdowns. We had the momentum and we had the ball with like 11 minutes left, and the dude decides to take 9 minutes off the clock, and we didn't even score. So
I don't know if that was his decision or not.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I want to know whose decision it was, but like that just seemed like I was watching it. I remember that I watched it before the pod, and they had no sense of urgency. So I just like when you're down 2 with a quarter left and you have the momentum, if you get some good chunk plays, you'll probably get those because you have the momentum. You scored 3 touchdowns in your last 3 drives to your 3-star receivers, and your rookie tight end's popping off. There's a good chance you could do something, and then they took 9 minutes off the clock, and we didn't even score. I'm pretty sure it was empty.
Yeah, and I think that was the fourth quarter. Yeah, I remember sitting there watching it and talking to myself, going, "What the hell are you guys doing? You don't have all day. You're down by multiple scores here. Yeah, you need more of a sense of urgency here. You can't take 9 minutes off the clock on this drive, and then, well, what are you going to do? The next time you get the ball, because you need to score multiple times. And in this case, they literally came up short." And turn the ball over on downs. I would love to be a fly on the inside of the headset and hear the conversations. I don't know if you can put that entirely on Roman. I'm sure, obviously he's the play caller. He's a contributor. How much of that goes to the Colts defense? How much of that goes to, as far as, well, what are they giving us? What are we getting? Man, it's such a game of chess. But yeah, they should have definitely had. I think the Colts were happy to, give us little dink and dunk and not give us big chunk plays because they knew they could just let the clock run out on us and we'd come up short. So, it's a valid point because I'm sitting there watching it, thinking it, going, you can't do a 9-minute drive here, guys. You don't have time for a 9-minute drive. The clock's going to run out on you. I don't know.
Yeah, and I also, those were good touchdowns. We were getting it rolling, but part of me, I was watching that defense, and that defense for those 3 touchdowns was not the same defense from the first 3 quarters and the last of the fourth quarter. A couple of those were give-me's. I feel like they were pushing back a little bit. It happens with a lot of games, and then once they saw us coming back a little bit, they're like, all right. And then you see DeForest Buckner get like 2 sacks back-to-back. And then you just see Zaire Franklin coming in, or whoever. I think it's Zaire Franklin. And then just a couple other guys. Their defense is good, but I think it was a couple of give-me touchdowns, if I'm going to be honest. So.
Yeah.
Because they were crushing us already by the first touchdown they scored. We were down like 27 points.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they were give-me's per se, but yeah. It's like anything, right? You get a lead and you loosen up a little bit, or at least you think you're loosening up a little bit. It's like, hey, we'll give them the stuff up in front here. We just don't want them to beat us with big plays. Well, Herbert's capable of making big plays, and we've got the players to make the big plays between Ladd and Keenan and QJ, and now OG. Obviously, they weren't ready for OG. He went off in this game.
I think that's huge because Tyler Coughlin's been dealing with those, being non-existent in general, but also drops, and then Will Dissly coming in again, and then here's just a couple drops, and then you have your rookies finally stepping up. So I think if we have a reliable OG every game, that's going to be awesome. And before this slips my mind, because we dealt with a lot of injuries early on, we got to think, because you deal with a lot of injuries early on, it's in the middle of the season, we're only going to keep getting healthier now. I know Abonia is now on IR,
today.
which But we're gonna get Joel back. We're getting a healthier like Salyer, which helps out on the line. Trey Pipkins is slowly starting to come back. Healthier Darius Davis, and you saw that made a big impact.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, I think the backfield with him and Hines is beautiful. But and then just a couple other guys. We're just gonna keep stacking people. Khalil Mack just came back, and he tweeted that. Pretty much, I'm going to play as much as I want, and hopefully they agree with me. That's what he said. So
Yeah, I saw that. And I figured he was going to be on a snap count this game. Yeah.
But we got to put that in perspective. We're going to get healthier, and we're going to get some of our reliable guys back, and then I think we have a perfect bye. I'm pretty sure it's in the next week or 2 weeks.
I think it's week 12, if I'm not mistaken, my man. But let me double check that for you.
Yeah, I thought
do week 12.
Week 12, okay. A little.
Let's see. We've got Minnesota this week, Tennessee next week, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and then the bye.
Okay, so it's way.
This is a nice stretch for us.
Yeah, that's way farther than I thought. Regardless. That later bye is just going to help us, in my opinion. It's going to keep getting those guys that are almost on the edge of coming back. And then if we're like to a certain extent, a fully healthy team by week 12 and get that last couple of game stretch wins, which I'm pretty sure we play all three of our divisions during that stretch too, that last 5-game stretch. That would be huge if we went back to our team that we had at the beginning of the season. So
yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I've been waiting, and last week was the first week of getting, Khalil back and Perryman back. It didn't seem like they made a difference, but first week back against a really talented team. So let's see. Khalil, I think he was on a snap count. I didn't go look at the number of snaps.
I'm pretty sure it was like 9.
Yeah, he wasn't really in there a ton. So I think they wanted to see how's that, and of course they did have it in a brace. I think he's probably better with the brace on. He's probably better at pass rushing than tackling. Right? Because you got to wrap up versus just swim moves and power moves and stuff. But knock on wood, man. The first half of the season has been injury plagued, and then as we get these guys back that are able to come back, unlike the Slaters of the world, that kind of comes to an end, and we don't have new injuries. The old ones heal up, we get these guys back, and we somewhat resemble the team we had in week 1, minus a Slater. And who knows? We've still got, I think it's about 2 weeks, give or take. I want to say it's like November 2nd. Again, don't quote me on this. The trade deadline, it's the first week in November. And I personally, I still think Joe Ortiz should go make a splash. Don't screw around with some journeyman. Go make a splash, dude. Go sign a stud offensive lineman on some team that's trash at this point, and they're willing to part with the guy for a decent pick. Bring him over here. Shit, we'll sort that out this offseason when we get Slater back, between having Slater and Alt and this new guy. But dude, Zion's trash at this point. I've been waiting for it to click for him, because he is such a physical specimen. You're like, how can this guy not dominate? Right? How can he not dominate? The guy's built like a brick wall. But the brick wall doesn't help if it's got a big hole in the middle. And he had another one this week where it was like an absolute whiff. He looks this way, looks that way. Buckner goes right past him and gets it just in his face. And enough. I've seen enough. Okay. It's really sad when the state of your offensive line is at the point where I'm actually looking forward to getting Pipkin back. Yeah. So, how bad has your offensive line got to be where you're excited to get Trey Pipkin back as your starting right tackle. When you've seen this show before with Trey Pipkin as your starting right tackle, and you know it isn't good, and he could get Herbert killed. But when you look at what we've got right now, and be honest with you, considering who we've got in our tackle positions, and then, you know, our weakness on our interior line that we've always had, they've actually played a pretty scrappy, you know, game. And I think our boy G Rose, you know, calling personnel groupings and plays, you know, like, you know, we've been playing a lot more 12 personnel, a lot more 13 personnel, bigger packages, multiple tight ends. So that helps out between running backs and tight ends, helping the tackles out and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we can't beat this Colts game to death. It was pretty much clear to see between offensive line, offense starting slow, couple stupid turnovers. One's totally Herbert's fault. One's just a big man doing big man stuff again, which is, you know, again, I don't know what it is, because it's not like Herbert throws totally sidearm unless he has to, but he gets way more balls batted than he should for being as tall as he is. And he has pretty much an over-the-top delivery. It's maybe a little bit sideways, but I've seen way worse. I mean, shit, look at Phillip, you know. And Phillip never got balls batted as much as Herbie does. You know, so it kind of is at this point, you know, thank God it's a short week. Move on. You know, this is a winnable game we've got coming up Thursday for a bunch of reasons. I say we close the chapter on the Colts game. Let's hope we get an opportunity to see him again, because if we do, that means we made the playoffs. So let's hope we get a chance to play him again, and let's hope that we're playing him from the, you know, having won our division, the AFC West, and not as a wild card. Let's hope that's the case as well, that we end up pulling out the division. But we've got our work ahead of us. Donkeys, they're playing some good football, man. They are leading the league in sacks. That defense is brutal. And the Chiefs are starting to come on. And I should also mention the refs are starting to come on too, by the way. I don't know if you watch these last couple Chiefs games, but it's like, oh, okay, the refs are now getting into midseason form as well. But what do you say we move on to this Vikings game on Thursday Night Football? We got the Vikings in SoFi in prime time, and we are also going to be wearing. This is not the old navies, the ones that we never won a game in. Those are gone. These are the new navies that are kind of a hybrid of the 90s navies, but with a new flair on them. And, you know, they've got the Navy helmet now, which is a throwback to the 90s, but I think it's going to be all Navy. I think it's going to be Navy jersey, Navy pants, and Navy helmet, which is going to be badass. You know, so this is a winnable game, but we do not want to show up on prime time and look like we did in the Colts game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very winnable game, but how we've been performing and the history of the Chargers and the trap games with us, for instance, rookie quarterbacks every season beating us. That season with the Browns had one win, and it was against us. Like, we're known to lose those games. So, like, I know it's a backup QB, Carson Wentz. He's a backup for a reason, but they got Jordan Addison, they got Justin Jefferson, arguably the best receiver in the league, was the best receiver last couple of years. I'm pretty sure TJ Hawkinson's on their team. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then they just designated him from IR. He's probably, I'm pretty sure he's going to play as Aaron Jones.
They opened his window.
Okay.
But it hasn't been concluded if he'll be playing Thursday.
Okay, so
Wentz,
regardless, they got some good heavy hitters on offense, and Justin Jefferson has proved you don't need a good quarterback for him to pop off.
Oh yeah, and by the way, let's not forget, Wentz is a first round pick, And if it weren't for him getting injured, he probably would have won the Super Bowl instead of.
He had a great season.
Yeah, instead of what's his name?
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Yeah. So he could be a Super Bowl champion quarterback.
Yeah. I don't really know their defense too well, so I'm not sure.
Well, they've got that Smith kid at safety.
Oh, Harrison Smith.
Smith.
Other than that, I don't know too many, but with our offensive line, we're making those mid-pass rushes look like top 5 or just the edge rushers. So, again, it's a very winnable game, but I think we got to play perfect.
Well, I believe, as I was looking at some of their stats, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the sack leader on the Vikings is their nose tackle. I believe that's the case. And the issues with our interior line. So Justin could have purple all up in his face if we're not careful. So
we just have to win the turnover battle. That's huge.
Yeah, we can't take these guys lightly. It's a winnable game. It's an absolutely winnable game. We don't have to do anything special. We just need to play efficiently. Don't hurt ourselves, right? That's part of Harbaugh winning football is don't beat yourself. Let the other team beat themselves. Because most NFL games, they're not won, they're lost. So don't lose the game, right? And so just if we show up and play like we're capable of playing, don't lose the turnover battle. Keep Justin, reasonably upright. Let's hope Joe Alt comes back this game. He really wanted to come back this past week, and they said he wasn't quite ready yet. So I suspect this kid's going to be like, look, dude, after last week, I'm back. You're not keeping me off the field. So let's hope we get him back, we get Pip back, we get Salyer back, and we can keep Justin semi-upright. He's still going to get some pressure. Our line's not perfect. Get a semblance of a running game going. That really helped in the previous game. We had a decent running game. I mean, Vidal popped off for, $124. We really need that. We really need to get out in the lead so we're not playing from behind and let G-Row kind of do what he did the previous game, which is call a little more balanced game, get the running game going, dominate time of possession, right? One of the best defenses is a good offense, right? Keep the other team's offense on the sideline. It works great. And, just kind of do what the Colts did to us, methodically march the ball down the field and score touchdowns, not field goals. And we can pull this out. So I'm hoping we get a couple more of our boys back, especially those 3 along the offensive line. It'll be really awesome to see Joe come back in the Navies.
Yeah, so a couple of things with that. So I saw a video of him in practice, and he looked smooth. Like it was one of the ones where he was putting a lot of pressure on that injury, and he looked pretty solid. So I just also hope that they're not gonna put him on a snap count, like to a certain extent, because we're gonna need him in there. And then another thing I was saying is, with Hassan Haskins being out, we signed a practice squad, guys. He's gonna be our RB2. Travion Williams, he's not too great.
No, it's gonna be Hines. It's gonna be Hines Miller or Miller Hines.
True. Because I just didn't know if they were going to keep him primarily on the punt and kick returns, but I guess they'll just keep Darius over there. But because I know, they were kind of splitting, but that also depended on the kickoff also. Okay, so that makes me feel a little better because. I'm sorry, but I'm having a former practice squad guy that popped off, but you have to. I love Kamani, and I'm not trying to be that guy, but you guys have to realize that the game you popped off, the Dolphins, they're top 5 in most rushing yards given.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't take a fully elite back to cut them up. So we'll see what he can do. Hopefully he can keep continuing, but hopefully him and Miller Hines can do something, because even if we get that O-line back, if you don't have a running back getting going, then we're just going to have to keep passing, because those 1 or 2 yard runs, and then we get a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and then Herbert's running for his life and has to pull a throw out of his ass, which he makes. That's just not efficient. So hopefully we get those guys back, and Miller Hines and Kamani can get something going, which I think they can. I believe so.
Well, what I found interesting is in that Dolphins game, the running game we got going. Again, it was with a makeshift offensive line. So yeah, the Dolphins weren't great against the run to begin with, but then we got guys we signed off the street in our offensive line, and so it was a combination of the O-line, the play call, and Kamani. And I think Kamani, I think he's more than capable. I mean, the kid just killed it in college. He was a really, really good running back. He's more than capable. And so if we get a healthy offensive line back, maybe we can get something going. The key is his balance. I mean, look what the Colts did to us, right? They stayed ahead of the chains. Every first down was 4, 5, or 6 yards, if not more. But at least, I mean, it was pretty rare that they had a 0 gain or a 1 gain or a TFL on first down. They just stayed ahead of the chains, and so that they ended up in a 3rd and manageable, almost every time. And, then they could pop off for a chunk play on that 2nd down or that 3rd down. And I think they did. They popped off on quite a few chunk plays on us because they were now in command of the play call, where it could be run or it could be pass. Right. So we need to kind of take that from their playbook into this next game. Hopefully we get some of these guys back on our O-line. Speaking of running backs too, been hearing for the last 2 weeks now, all these people clamoring for us to go out and trade for a running back, right? And you've been hearing the one about Alvin Kamara. Right, I'm sure you've seen it. If I've seen it, I know you've seen it. Yeah. And again, it's not exactly the same, but I kind of equate it to this whole Malik Neighbors thing. It's no, take a step back and put this in the context of these Chargers and this coaching staff. I don't think they're going to go out and get a running back and pay money for a running back and then put him behind this line. It makes no sense to me why you would go out and get this stud running back and then put him behind a shitty line. So how about you go shore up the line first and then let your other running backs benefit from that before you go trade for some other dude and give up some draft capital. It doesn't equate for me. Maybe I'm missing something and everybody else is getting it, but I don't think I am. It's just like going into that Malik Neighbors draft. It's you guys are kidding yourselves if you think we're going to go use that pick on that dude when we can get a Joe Wall. Or maybe we trade back and we get somebody comparable to a Malik Neighbor, but we get more draft capital. It just didn't make sense to me. So, at this point, we got OA from the Ravens for Alohi, and I'm not hearing any rumblings from the NFL insiders that there's any real serious talks going on between the Chargers and some other team for any trade right now. But we still got a couple weeks, and it would be nice to bring in a very, very capable starting caliber O-line. And I commented to Money last week about that, and his line is, it's difficult. Teams won't part with starting caliber offensive linemen. And I'm I hear what you're saying, Money, but it happens, right? It happens, and it's been a while for the Chargers. I want to say goes all the way back to Roman Oben, and that's way before your time, probably, Brennan. Yeah. But we traded for Roman Oben, starting caliber lineman, and he came in for a couple seasons and really contributed. So if you've got a team that's kind of a stinker team, but they've got, some assets that they might be willing to trade with as they go into rebuilding mode, it could happen. So I'm going to still hold out hope.
Yeah, that's good points there. So we'll see. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You can't get like the Kamara type of guy. I've been hearing like Brees Hall, but
love those guys too. Love them, but I don't think.
Yeah, but you can't do anything with the O line that's from a couple of them from practice squads, a couple of them from the streets, straight up
from the streets, dude.
Yeah, like he wasn't on a team. Well, I think the last team he was on was Green Bay. And so we'll see what happens, but I think it's very. I'm just an optimistic Charger fan, so if we signed him, I think it's a very good option that we can get an O lineman. I get what Muddy's saying, but for the right price, people will take offers, especially if you give them like one of our depth players where they need help, just like literally the Baltimore trade. That was perfect, based off the fact that they needed a safety and we needed some edge. So for the right price, it's doable. So I don't know. I think this going back to this game, I think this is a very important game for us, because if we lose another one, I do not see them morale-wise getting from where they were from weeks 1 and 3. I still think we're going to win games and we could possibly make playoffs, but this is just going to be tough for them, especially with the next couple games, which are pretty hard. That Pittsburgh game is going to be so hard, people don't realize. So it's important. I think this win, if we get a prime time win, we have a longer week to prep for our next week, and hopefully we get some other guys back if they don't come back this week, and we're going in good energy, hopefully a little more healthier with the win too. Set us up 5-3. All we can hope is Denver and the Chiefs lose. So this is an important game for us, for sure.
Yeah, and I think you hit on it too. I think morale is a big part of it. Not that I don't think it's in Harbaugh's makeup to let the team's morale go in the dumpsters, but we're all human, and as a fan, from a fan perspective, 5-3 looks a hell of a lot better than 4-4, right? Yeah. Especially when we've got high hopes of fighting for this division, and we're not out of it by a long shot. Okay, we're 3-0 in the division, so we're right there. We're in the mix of this thing, and the last thing we need at this stage of the season is to roll over and play dead. So this is a winnable game. You can't take these guys lightly, but it is a home game. It's a primetime game. I think these guys, all NFL players, have a certain amount of ego to them. But, Derwin didn't mince words, and a lot of other players either. He said we basically, we were shit and it stunk it up and the whole bit. And so there's going to be a motivation factor to come out in prime time, and some pretty sweet looking threads. All the boys like to look sharp when they're in prime time.
I think the defense is fired up. I think
I hope so.
If they're gonna play like how they were responding, that's a bad taste in their mouth. They don't want that, especially with this team. They have one of our biggest things is morale, and like you see all these teams having stuff happen to them internally, and we really don't have that, especially with Harbaugh in here. So I think what I'm trying to say is I think they're going to take it to heart. They're really going to take it to heart and try to shut these guys out. Not saying they're going to, but I think they're going to try their hardest with it. A scary player is Derwin when he has nothing to lose, when he just feels like he's not playing the way he is. He's going to come in like a freight train. Healthier Mac, especially Mac Tuli, no way. That's going to be crazy. Our corners are playing really good. Like I was gonna say, our corners, other than that last game, our corners are killing it. Benjamin St. Just, I wanted to mention. All the Commanders fans said, "Good luck, buddy. He's gonna suck."
Yeah.
And he's making at least every game I've seen him make a pass breakup where I was genuinely surprised he was gonna make that. That interception he had was beautiful. So, and then Dante Jackson, obviously still in heart. I will say I feel like Hart's taken a little step back, not much, but last year it was still in heart. Who knows? And then clearly this year it is clearly still and then heart. So, but regardless, they've been killing it. So I think if they're got a bad taste in their mouth and they just want to kill this game out of the water, I think they're going to, especially if they just they need to contain Justin Jefferson. So I'll let Jordan Addison have a good game, but Jay Jettis, he's got to be stopped. And then I'm not really too worried about Hawkinson based off the fact that we'll have like Derwin or Henley on him at all times, and hopefully those guys get back to their early season form. So
yeah, I mean, when you look at the defense from a personnel standpoint, where's the weakness, right? I mean, from a personnel standpoint, you go, no, we're good on all levels. Our interior D line has been a breath of fresh air. You know, losing our boy Puna, and Thier's stepped up big time. But the whole rotation and this rook Caldwell, he's looking great, man. I can't wait to see this guy like 2 more seasons from now. I truly think he's going to be dominant. I really think he's got the ability to dominate interior D-line. Our edge rushers have been good now that we got Mac back, and now add Owe to the mix. I don't want to talk a whole lot about Bud being an edge rusher. Bud is a much better run blocker than a run tackler, I guess, and he actually does set an edge. It's never his side that I'm seeing them get the edge on, by the way. It's not Bud's side. He's better in the run than he is the pass. I just don't see him getting to the QB a lot. I don't know if he's sluggish, lost his power, lost his moves, whatever it is. But, I mean, at each level, I'm looking at our D going, what's personnel-wise, we should be good to go. So if Mentor can do some of his Mentor magic as we head in to the second half of this season. Now that we got Perryman back, maybe he gets his stride. I saw him make a couple plays, a couple thumper plays this game, but clearly not enough. Mac, I think, was on a snap count, so he didn't get a ton of plays, but he came out of the game good, so they're going to turn him loose more. And Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz, which, what I mean by that is he can make plays, but he can also not make plays. And he'd make plays for the opposing team if you play defense right, which is get some pressure on them, and your DBs play the way they're supposed to play. So if we go execute, that's the thing. We haven't been executing. If we go execute, we can come out of this game and be thrilled again at being 5-3 and still competing. So, yes, they've got weapons. Every team's got some weapons, and they've got some good weapons. But, QB, I would probably say is a weakness for their team. Even if JJ was starting, he's super young, and I think Mentor knows him. So if JJ was starting, I think we would be just as optimistic as Wentz. In fact, maybe a little bit more, to be honest with you, because we know JJ. Our coaches know JJ personally. So, the wild card is this third string kid. What's his name? Bomer?
Max, I think. Max.
Yeah, Max Bowman.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we put a little hurting on Wentz, and he has to come in because he's going to be back.
He's dealing with an injury. He was limited this week, so.
Yeah, in fact, I had heard earlier in the week, well, it's only Tuesday, so yesterday, I think, yesterday or Sunday maybe that guy was going to be starting because Wentz has a shoulder issue on his non-throwing shoulder, but I think they officially stated today he will be starting Thursday. So, let's kind of wrap this thing up.
One thing I wanted to mention, actually, because I wasn't on the last pod, and I think you would appreciate this because you like these details.
I love it.
With the defense, with the Dolphins game, since I wasn't able to talk about that win with you, shout out to the most underrated play that won us the game, J.K. Scott.
Oh, okay.
That was the most botched snap I've seen in a long time, and it came fast. The dude in 0.5 seconds, and like he didn't even need to turn, like boom, boom, like that was the cleanest thing I've seen. And if he had it with the laces, if he didn't get it in time, that could have easily been a missed field goal, like easily. We see it happen all the time, and so I just wanted to shout out my guy because punters don't get too much love, and that was a really solid play by him because Dicker could have easily missed it if he didn't get it in time. Like if you watch, Dicker was totally calm, didn't miss a step, he just looked and totally kicked. So like if he does that, you can, regardless he's gonna have to kick the ball, but you could see in his face that JK's got this. Like so I just wanted to shout that out since I wasn't on last pod.
No, that's awesome, and it was. I think a few folks have given J.K. Scott kudos for digging that snap out and getting it down in time. That's why these guys practice as much as they practice. A lot of people make fun of the special teams, especially the kicking group, being off on their own the whole time, right? But they it's got to be a well-oiled machine. And that was an example of practice helps. You don't want to just practice perfect snaps all the time. I'm sure they probably practice intentionally bad snaps so that he can work on that. And he did a masterful job. The other guy and I mentioned it last pod, that was almost an unsung hero at winning that game was Hassan Haskins. On that play, on that miracle heroic play by Justin DeLadd, if you just ISO Haskins and watch what he did on that play, without him, we may not have won that game. His hustle, his blocking, and his hustle, I guarantee every player on the team recognized what he did on that play. It was awesome.
Yeah, he chipped the edge rusher. Edge rusher fell. Then he caught up to Ladd somehow and made the block that if he didn't block that, Ladd would have went down immediately. Maybe 5 yards extra, but he went 20 extra yards for an easy kick. So that's another one that didn't make my mind. But
And he was so smart to make sure it wasn't a block in the back, right? He got in front of him like this and shielded him. Where, some other knucklehead would have just plowed the guy in the back or clipped him, kind of half in the back. It's those little plays that are the difference between winning and losing. And right now, there's a lot of those, I think, on the defensive side of the ball that aren't getting done, that are leaving the edge exposed and things like that. So let's hope Mentor gets that stuff cleaned up. Let me look at my notes real quick to see if I've got anything else I wanted to cover relative to this game. No, I think we pretty much covered it. I really hope we get Alt, Pip, and Salyer back. I think that'll make a big difference. I think Justin he'll feel like he's in heaven, which is sad to say. I think just getting Alt back, he's going to feel like he's in heaven because now he's not going to have to, he's going to be like, okay, I'm good over here.
You can tell that he's getting old. I mean, he's not getting old. He's getting old of having to get hit 4 times every single drive. So
yeah. So Alt's key, but at this point, I think Pip and Salyer too. It looks like Mackay's getting banged up. And he's not playing well, and he's in and out of the games, so he needs to rest up. Luckily this is a Thursday night game, so it's almost like another mini bye heading into the next game. So, keys for me, hopefully we get those O linemen back, and the O line can play better. But hats off to the guys who have been playing. They're super scrappy and they're really putting in the effort. We need to just keep Justin from, even if we can cut 25 or 30% of the hits and the pressures that he's taking, because he's running for his life. How you put 400 yards up running for your life is just crazy. And then I'd like to see us get back to a balanced game plan. If we can get out into the lead, see Giro call some plays where, Herbert's getting some help. The tight ends and the backs are giving the O-line some help. And, see our O-line block, do some run blocking. I think they prefer to run block because they're being aggressive going forward instead of stepping back and just standing there protecting. I think they like to be the road graders, so that would be a huge thing. And then, what I'm going to be watching, not between now and this game, but over the next 2 weeks, is Ortiz going to go make a splash trade for this team? Or if he doesn't, at this point, what we have is what we have. And I would tell you, if we get everybody healthy, like we started the pod and you were talking about, optimistic, we get everybody back, other than Slater, get everybody back that we can get back and they stay healthy, we still have a really, really good chance to go deep in the playoffs. But
especially with Amari going to be back too. He's not out for the season. So.
I think he's got two more weeks before he can come back. And so again, I would say running backs second priority, maybe even further down. If we got to go trade for somebody, we really should focus on getting a stud offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I've got for this game. I know it's a lot, but at this point, it's shore this offensive lineup, and I think we have a fighting chance to pull this thing off if our defense plays even reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit said it perfectly. I think if we just execute like we did the first 3 weeks, like it just looked clean and more efficient. If we can do that, then I think we're gonna. It's gonna be a good game. I know I said they have weapons, but they are, I think, 2-5 or something for a reason. So I think it's gonna be a pretty good game for us. As long as we do what you said and I said, I think it's gonna be a pretty good game. So hopefully it is. Like I said. Last thing I just want to say to this is I can't stress enough how much this game's important, because you said with the mini bye and everything, if you get a win here and get your momentum up and everything and just keep going, it's going to be a good season, because everybody's just going to keep coming back to you and you're just going to keep adding weapons. So I think this is going to be an important win for us.
Well, and look at what we've got right behind this. We've got Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not mistaken, they just fired their coach and put the incredibly awesome and stellar Mike McCoy as their interim head coach. I think we all remember that dude. That wasn't that long ago. Okay. So, and their rook quarterback is he's having a rough go of it, and I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. So we get a long break. If we pull this win out, we're 5-3. We get a long stretch here, and then we go up against the Titans, and that's just a normal. That's a road game, so that's going to be a normal Sunday game, but it's going to be one of those West Coast teams going east and getting a 10 a.m. start, which is always tough, but we pulled out the Miami game, so we're more than capable. And I think we performed pretty well last season as well. Harbaugh knows how to kind of manage that situation and get his guys ready. So we've got an opportunity here to kind of right the ship a little bit and get healthy. Getting healthy is going to be huge. So you weren't here last week, and so you didn't have the pleasure of giving a game prediction and being wrong.
Well, I got the Dolphins one wrong because I thought they were going to win.
Yes, and I know you were doing a little reverse psychology with the universe there on that one, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, I was completely wrong. I had us winning 28-27. Instead, we got our asses kicked 38-24. And so I again, obviously thought our defense was going to perform a little bit better than they did. I mean, you can almost argue they didn't even show up. I mean, could the Colts have scored more points if they had no defenders on the other side of the ball? Yeah, they could have scored a little bit more, but not that much more. I mean, honestly, there's only so much time in the game. So maybe they put up a 50 burger instead of 38. I mean, I think Derwin nailed it. They played like crap. So only one way to go, but up from here, right, guys? Right? Let's get some healthy players back and start performing. So I had a horrible week last week. Brennan, what are you thinking we're looking at? Prime time, Thursday night, against the Vikings, and we're rolling out a brand new navy blue. And I think it's all navy blue. Helmet, jersey, pants.
I think our defense gets rolling again, and I think our offense is going to put up a couple. So I think it's going to be 21-17 Chargers.
Okay. 21-17. All right. I would love our defense to hold them to 17. And I think they can with Wentz. I think it's possible. You know, obviously he's got some weapons.
When it's Wentz.
Especially if they get the running back. But right now I think it's still in the air. They've opened his window, but I don't know if they've got him back. I'm hoping our offense kind of takes this week and carries it forward. And so, you know, I'm looking forward to them kind of unleashing a little bit on this next team. And I'm looking at a 31-24 win. I think we'll get into the 30s. I think we can even put more up on them, quite frankly. I don't think their defense is all that good. Not that they're horrible, but I don't think they're great. And so I think we can continue from last week, the momentum we got. So I'm looking 31-24 Chargers. And by the way, one thing we did not talk about, which is amazing in this entire podcast, the Charger Power yellow unis. I'm going to go with Chris Berman. I don't know if you saw Chris Berman's fastest 3 minutes last night on the Monday night broadcast, but I'm going to go with Berman. I'm going to say don't ever wear them again. And Berman's a huge Chargers fan, by the way. I don't know if you know that. Chris Berman's a huge Chargers fan, going all the way back to Eric Coryell. And so he's like, you know, we got our asses kicked by the Colts. Don't ever wear them again. I'm like, I'm with you, Chris. They didn't look as bad as I thought they would look. I will say that. They didn't look as bad as I thought they would look, but I would be fine if I never saw them wear those uniforms ever again.
Yeah, I think people just got PTSD from the old Navies where we went like 0-7 in those things.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I don't want to do that because a lot of our alternates, we don't win it. So
the Royals, I think we did okay in the Royals, but I never was a fan of
it. It was mid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I like them personally. A lot of people do not like them, but I like them personally.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to break out in a dance like the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we just had to get something in on those unis. By the way, you guys, I would love to hear your comments about those unis. Feel free to throw them in the comments. I got some guy giving me crap 2 podcasts ago because I call the Washington football team, I call them the Redskins, and I guess it triggered them. You know, it's like, come on. You know, you need a little bit thicker skin. If me calling the Redskins instead of this new lame name that they've taken on to be politically correct, then you don't have enough going on in your life, is my personal opinion. Yeah, these unis, in my opinion, kill them. I don't think they do anything for us. They definitely don't make us look intimidating. These unis Thursday night, I think these things are going to look really intimidating. And I expect our boys to play like that. So, should be good.
Yeah, I love those Navy helmets, man. I do wish they would have brought back like that style of uniform with the white pants, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'll take it because we haven't got one of those helmets since LT, so it's gonna be cool to see those things.
Well, who knows? Maybe, in future seasons they actually do roll that 90s, early 2000s, kind of like Stan Humphries right behind you there in that picture on your calendar. Yeah, pull that uni back out with the Navy helmets, Navy jerseys, and the white pants with the lightning bolt down the side.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's a classic look. But the all Navy pants, which has never been done before with the Navy jersey and the Navy helmets, I'm really looking forward to see them roll those out Thursday night. It's going to look pretty cool. And you can't lose in that uniform. You lose in that uniform, you guys are worthless, all right? You can't lose in that uniform. Don't do it. You don't do it, all right? That uniform is going to be so incredibly awesome looking and intimidating. You have to play awesome and intimidating. I'm just going to leave it with that. What do you say we wrap this up, Brennan?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know this one's more a little rambly, but still, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about this Week 8 Thursday night home game, prime time, against the Vikes in the all-Navy unis. Hopefully we're talking about a nice, really confidence-inspiring W, so we get the long week and we can all just enjoy it and kind of embrace it heading into the Tennessee game. And then we'll be back to talk also about the upcoming Tennessee game. Should be interesting. We'll have a week with Tennessee being run by Mike McCoy and kind of see how they're, shaping up since they fired Brian Callahan. And I guess his dad quit when they fired him. Bill Callahan used to be the coach of the Raiders and stuff. So they've had some turnover there mid-season. And with that, I will leave you guys, as we always leave you at the end of a Chargers cast. Despite this L, who's got it better than us?
Nobody,
baby. Keep the faith. Bolt up. We'll see you guys next week on ChargersCast. Hi, I'm Kirk Brewer, the creator and host of ChargersCast. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of ChargersCast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. When I created ChargersCast, it was intended to be a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers from a fan perspective. It's by fans and for fans. So it's for you. And we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please go down below, leave a comment, give us some feedback. We really love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notifications when new content drops. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to ChargersCast. And who's got it better than us? Nobody.